Jesus Talk Time, March 10, 2026. 1 Thessalonians 4 verses 3 and 4.
For this is the will of God, your sanctification, that you should abstain from sexual immorality, that each of you should know how to possess his own vessel in sanctification and honor. This passage is located in the New Testament, specifically in Paul's first letter to the Thessalonians. In this text, Paul communicates with the believers in Thessalonica, guiding them on God's will concerning their sanctification and sexual integrity. The central message of this verse highlights the Christian imperative for holiness and purity. Paul stresses that sanctification, being designated for God's purposes, is an expectation for all believers. This call to holiness encompasses every aspect of life, including sexual conduct. By urging followers to refrain from fornication, Paul highlights the significance of sexual purity as integral to a holy and righteous existence. In today's context, the teachings of 1 Thessalonians 4 verse 3 retain their relevance and significance. Although societal norms have evolved since the early church's time, the struggle to uphold moral standards amidst compromise remains constant. In an environment that frequently celebrates sexual permissiveness and moral ambiguity, the exhortation towards sanctification and sexual purity stands in stark contrast and demands deliberate commitment. Ultimately, 1 Thessalonians 4 verse 3 serves as a poignant reminder for believers about God's desire for them to lead lives characterized by holiness and purity. It encourages Christians to withstand societal pressures while pursuing sanctification across all aspects of life, including their sexual conduct. By striving to align their lives with God's will regarding sanctification, they testify to the transformative nature of the gospel and Christ's redemptive work within them. The concepts of purity and sanctification are further emphasized in 1 Thessalonians 4 verse 4. Here, Paul addresses the Thessalonian believers and implores them to dedicate themselves wholly to God. The phrase "possess his vessel" conveys a message about exercising self-control over one's body and desires. More broadly, it calls on individuals to live honorably in a manner pleasing to God. Understanding this verse requires considering its context. The community in Thessalonica faced numerous temptations, particularly concerning prevalent sexual immorality within Greco-Roman society at that time. Paul's encouragement for them to possess his vessel in sanctification and honor directly addresses these challenges by reminding followers of Christ that they are called to uphold a higher standard of moral integrity. Moreover, honoring one's vessel reflects the inherent value that God assigns each person. As image-bearers of God, believers are urged not only to respect their own bodies but also those of others. This includes abstaining from sexual immorality while treating oneself and others with dignity. 1 Thessalonians 4 verse 4 transcends simple moral instruction. It is fundamentally anchored in the gospel's message. The invitation toward purity and sanctification emerges from God's grace alongside the Holy Spirit's transformative influence within believers' lives, a response fueled by love stemming from Jesus Christ's sacrifice. Therefore, pursuing holiness becomes a natural expression rather than an obligation born out of duty. In summary, 1 Thessalonians 4 verse 4 powerfully reminds all believers of their calling toward purity and holiness. It emphasizes self-control, sanctification, and respect for one's body as bestowed by God while addressing challenges posed by morally decadent cultures, challenges still pertinent today. Ultimately, it urges Christians to embody lives reflective of both the gospel's transformative power and God's grace.
Thank you for watching.